Christmas Eve in Boston was supposed to feel magical. Snow fell in slow, delicate flakes. Twinkling lights wrapped around street lamps like ribbons. Families hurried past restaurant windows, their laughter muffled by the cold. But for Jamal Carter, sitting alone at a small table in Piccolo Veneno, an overpriced Italian restaurant in Back Bay, it felt like the holidays were mocking him. His blind date had lasted exactly 11 minutes. 11 minutes from polite greeting to visible disappointment to the final blow. The woman whose name he'd already forgotten stood from the table without ordering a drink. She didn't meet his eyes. Her voice was apologetic but firm. "You're great, but I'm just not interested in someone with parental responsibilities." She left him staring at her half-folded napkin. Jamal didn't chase after her. He'd heard worse. He'd endured harder. But sitting there with his coat draped across the chair and Christmas music playing, a slow romantic version of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, he felt the sting anyway. 7 years of single parenting. 7 years of balancing grief and responsibility. And still women treated his daughter like baggage instead of a blessing. Jamal forced a breath. He needed to leave before the humiliation sank its teeth too deep. He stood, reached for his wallet, and waved the waiter over. Then a voice cut through the restaurant. Not loud, not demanding, but sharp enough to stop him mid-motion. "Excuse me." Jamal turned, expecting a waitress, maybe a request to move his seat. Instead, a woman at the next table lifted her gaze from a glass of red wine and said, "Are you busy?" She sat alone, posture poised, blonde hair sleek and straight. She wore a black jacket that looked couture and boots that probably cost more than his rent. Her face was striking, cool, composed. The kind of beauty that didn't ask for attention, but received it anyway. "Yeah," he said awkwardly. I'm actually just leaving." "Don't." Her voice didn't waver. "Sit." Jamal blinked. Had she seen the entire disaster? "Seriously, I'm fine," he said. "I just need to go." "Marry me." The words landed like a slap. The restaurant noise faded, the music blurred. Jamal stared, absolutely certain he'd misheard. "Excuse me?" "Marry me," she repeated, this time with clinical clarity. "Not now, not immediately. I just need a husband, and I think you might need a wife." There were at least 6 logical reactions Jamal could have had. Laugh, walk away, call security, ask if she was drunk. Instead, he just stared, because the woman didn't look unhinged. She looked terrifyingly rational. "Who are you?" he asked. "Alexandra Monroe." She didn't extend a hand, didn't smile. "CEO of Monroe Interactive." Jamal wasn't tech-savvy, but even he recognized the name. The gaming company that had gone public last year. Headlines, Forbes covers, billion-dollar valuation. "That's a lot," he muttered. "I know," she replied like they were discussing a grocery list. "I know exactly what I'm worth, which is why I'm telling you up front. This wouldn't be a financial arrangement." Jamal rubbed a hand across the back of his neck. "Why me?" "Because you're a singleton," Alexandra said. Her eyes were flat, but her voice softened at the edges. "I overheard your date. I also heard what you said about your daughter when she wasn't listening. You're a good father, not a perfect one. No one is, but a present one. You have love to give. That matters." Jamal swallowed. Hearing a stranger verbalize something so intimate made him feel naked. "I don't understand what you're asking," he said. "I'm asking," Alexandra said, "if you're willing to build a family." Jamal sat down without fully realizing he had moved. His body acted before his brain caught up. "You don't even know me," he said, "which we can fix." Her tone was infuriatingly practical, like she was proposing a business partnership instead of a life-altering commitment. The waiter slipped by, refilling Alexandra's glass. Without breaking eye contact, she gestured toward Jamal. "2 glasses, please." He raised a hand instinctively. "Just water." Alexandra shrugged, unfazed. "This may be the wildest thing I've heard all year," Jamal said. "And the stupidest," she added, "but also the most honest." There was a sadness to her, a polished loneliness, expensive and quiet. "Why do you want a husband?" he asked. She looked down at her wine before speaking. "Because I've built everything I dreamed of except a family. Because every man I date wants my money, my connections, or my company." She lifted her gaze again, the mask slipping just enough to reveal something raw. And because I can't have children. Not biologically, a health condition. Permanent. So men lose interest fast. Jamal didn't know what to say. He'd been judged for having a child. She was judged for not being able to have one. They sat in silence long enough for the Christmas music to shift into another orchestral version of a classic. Snow continued to drift against the restaurant windows, blurring Boston into a watercolor of white and gold. "Why are you asking a stranger to marry you?" Daddy finally said. Alexandra leaned back, rubbing her thumb along the stem of her glass. "Because desperation and clarity often look the same if you're honest enough to admit it." Jamal huffed a breath, half laugh, half exhale of disbelief. "So what? You want to adopt my daughter? Like a business acquisition?" Her eyes narrowed, not offended but focused. "I don't want to adopt anyone. I want to build something, to be part of something. And I think you do too." Jamal stared at her, at the billionaire who looked tired of being admired but never known, at the woman who had just proposed insanity with unwavering conviction. He should have stood, should have left, but his feet felt nailed to the floor. "I have a daughter," he said quietly. "I know," she replied. "I'm asking you to let me meet her, get to know her, get to know you, and see where this goes." Jamal swallowed. "This is crazy." Alexandra nodded. "So is spending Christmas alone." The words hung between them. Heavy, true. Jamal thought about his empty apartment, about Zara asking why other kids had moms and she didn't, about the years of rejection stacking up like unpaid bills. He thought about Teresa, about the promise she'd made him make in the hospital. Don't be alone forever. Don't make grief your only companion. "One meeting," and he said, "Saturday, public place." "Thank you," Alexandra said. She reached into her jacket and pulled out a business card. On the back, she wrote a phone number in precise, elegant script. "In case you change your mind," she said, sliding it across the table. "Though I hope you don't." Jamal took the card. His fingers brushed hers for the briefest moment. Then she stood, gathered her coat, and walked out of the restaurant without looking back. The waiter appeared. "Your bill, sir." Jamal realized he had forgotten to pay. He signed the slip with shaking hands. The card sat on the table. White, simple, impossibly heavy. He picked it up and read the number 3 times. Then he slipped it into his wallet and walked out into the snow. He didn't know it yet, but he'd just agreed to something that would change everything. Jamal woke at 6 in the morning. He hadn't slept well. His mind kept replaying the restaurant, the woman, the proposal. "Marry me." He rolled out of bed and padded to the kitchen. Saturday mornings meant chocolate chip pancakes, a tradition he and Zara had built over the years, long after grief had scraped all the joy out of their mornings. He mixed batter, cracked eggs, measured vanilla. The mechanical routine settled him. Footsteps on the stairs, small, quick. Zara appeared in the doorway. Wild curls framed her face. Her pajamas were inside out because she insisted on dressing herself. "Morning, baby girl," Jamal said. "Morning, daddy." She climbed onto the kitchen stool, swinging her legs. "You seem weird today." "I'm fine." "Are you?" She tilted her head. 7 years old, but she saw through him like glass. "We're meeting someone at the park later," Jamal said, flipping a pancake. "Her name is Alexandra." Zara perked up. "Is she your friend?" Jamal hesitated. "She wants to be." Zara shrugged, uninterested in adult complexities. "Is she nice?" It was a reasonable question. Jamal didn't know. He barely knew her. "I think so," he said. "Okay." Zara picked up a strawberry from the bowl. "What time?" 10. "That's soon." "Yeah." Zara studied him for a long moment. Then she smiled. "It's okay to have friends, Daddy. Mommy would want you to." Jamal's throat tightened. He set the spatula down and walked over to her. He kissed the top of her head. "You're too smart for your age," he murmured. "I know," she said seriously. The Charles River Park was covered in fresh snow. Families walked the paths. Children threw snowballs. Dogs chased each other, barking with joy. Jamal held Zara's hand as they walked. She wore her pink puffy coat and mittens shaped like cats. Her boots left small prints in the snow. "Where is she?" Zara asked. "I don't know. We're a few minutes early." Then he saw her. Alexandra Monroe stood near the duck pond, hands in the pockets of a camel-colored coat. Her hair wasn't pulled back in that severe style from the restaurant. It fell loosely around her shoulders. She wore a cream wool scarf and snow-dusted boots. She looked softer, more human. She saw them and lifted a hand in a small wave. Jamal's heart did something strange in his chest. He ignored it. "Come on," he said to Zara. They walked toward her. Zara's grip on his hand tightened slightly. She was brave but cautious around strangers. "You made it," Alexandra said when they reached her. "I said I would," Jamal replied. "This is Zara." Alexandra crouched down, bringing herself to eye level with the little girl. Jamal noticed how carefully she moved, like she was afraid of spooking a wild animal. "Hi, Zara," Alexandra said. "I'm Alexandra." Zara studied her with the seriousness of a judge. "Are you my dad's friend?" "I hope so." Zara stared for another beat. Then she nodded, apparently satisfied. "Do you like ducks?" Zara asked. Alexandra blinked. "I've never been asked that before." Zara shrugged. "They're important." Alexandra's lips curved into the first genuine smile Jamal had seen from her. "Then yes, I like ducks very much." Zara beamed. She let go of Jamal's hand and reached for Alexandra's instead. "Come on," Zara said. "I'll show you which ones are nice and which ones are mean." Alexandra glanced at Jamal, a question in her eyes. He nodded. She let Zara pull her toward the pond. Jamal followed, watching the two of them. Zara chattered nonstop. Alexandra listened, asking questions, laughing at Zara's explanations about duck politics. It should have been awkward. A billionaire CEO and a 7-year-old discussing waterfowl behavior. But it wasn't. It was easy, natural. They walked for an hour. Zara fed the ducks breadcrumbs from a bag Jamal had brought. One particularly aggressive duck waddled too close and Zara squealed, jumping behind Alexandra's legs. Alexandra laughed, really laughed. The sound was bright and unguarded. Jamal realized he'd never heard her laugh before. It transformed her face, made her look younger, less burdened. "You're good with her," Jamal said quietly as they walked side by side. Zara had run ahead, chasing a squirrel. "I like children," Alexandra replied. "I just can't have them." She said it without drama, without bitterness, like she'd repeated the words so many times they'd lost their sting. "Does it bother you if people know?" Jamal asked. "It bothers me when they pity me," she corrected. Her eyes stayed on Zara. "Or assume I'm incomplete because of it." Jamal understood that. He'd been told he was too much. She'd been told she wasn't enough. Different wounds, same pain. Zara ran back to them. "Can she see my room?" Jamal opened his mouth. He'd planned for this to be a quick meeting. An hour, maybe 2. But before he could speak, Alexandra answered. "I'd love to." Zara grabbed both their hands, one small brown hand in her father's, one in Alexandra's. She swung between them as they walked back toward the parking lot. "This is nice," Zara said. "What is?" Jamal asked. "Having 3. Duh. Jamal's house was small, a rental in Somerville that he'd lived in since Teresa died. The paint peeled slightly in places. The porch light flickered when it got too cold. Inside, the living room smelled like cinnamon and crayons. Every wall was covered with Zara's drawings, framed like they belonged in a museum. Alexandra stopped in front of each one. She studied them with real attention. Not the polite interest adults usually showed, genuine appreciation. "She's talented," Alexandra said. "She gets it from her mom," Jamal replied. "Teresa was an artist." Alexandra nodded. She didn't ask what happened to Teresa. The question lived in her eyes, but she didn't voice it. Jamal was grateful. "My room's upstairs," Zara called, already halfway up the stairs. They followed. Zara's room was an explosion of pink and glitter. Drawings covered every surface. Stuffed animals filled the bed. A small desk sat by the window, covered in markers and construction paper. "Do you draw?" Zara asked Alexandra. "Absolutely not," Alexandra said. Zara giggled. She grabbed a marker and held it out. "Try anyway." Alexandra took the marker. She knelt on the floor. Zara handed her paper. They spent the next 40 minutes coloring together. Alexandra's drawings were terrible. Lopsided animals and crooked houses. But Zara praised each one like it was a masterpiece. Jamal stood in the doorway and watched. Something in his chest ached. Not a bad ache, the kind that came from feeling too much too fast. Alexandra looked nothing like a CEO, nothing like the cold, composed woman from the restaurant. She looked like someone who wanted desperately to belong. When it was time for her to leave, Zara threw her arms around Alexandra without hesitation. Alexandra froze, startled. Then her arms came up slowly, carefully, and wrapped around the small girl. She held Zara like she'd been handed something priceless and fragile. Her eyes shimmered. "Can she come back?" Zara asked after Alexandra had walked to her car. Jamal watched through the window. Alexandra stood by a black Tesla looking back at the house. Her expression was unguarded, vulnerable. "Do you want her to?" Jamal asked. "Yeah," Zara said simply. "She listens." Jamal nodded. His throat felt tight. "I'll see what I can do." Alexandra met his eyes across the distance. Something passed between them. A recognition, an acknowledgement. She got in her car and drove away. Jamal stood in the snow, heart pounding with a feeling he hadn't allowed himself in years. Saturday became a ritual. Not all at once, it happened gradually, organically. The next Saturday, Alexandra texted. Her message was simple. "Same time?" Jamal replied. Yes, they met at a bakery, Flour, a place near Boston Common that made the best hot chocolate in the city. Zara insisted Alexandra try everything. The croissants, the apple tart, the chocolate cookies that left crumbs all over the table. Alexandra ate with the careful politeness of someone who usually skipped meals. But Zara's enthusiasm was infectious. By the end, Alexandra was laughing, wiping chocolate from her fingers, looking more relaxed than Jamal had ever seen her. The following Saturday, they walked through the public garden. Zara fed the ducks again. It was apparently her life's mission to befriend every waterfowl in Boston. Alexandra asked questions, real questions, about Zara's school, her friends, what she wanted to be when she grew up. "A scientist," Zara said confidently, "or maybe a vet, or an astronaut." "Why not all three?" Alexandra suggested. Zara's eyes went wide, like she'd never considered she could be more than one thing. The third Saturday, they went to the Children's Museum. Zara dragged them through every exhibit. She explained why the dinosaurs were sad because their families were extinct. She demonstrated how gears worked. She built a tower out of blocks and then knocked it down with glee. Alexandra watched her with something like wonder. "She's fearless," Alexandra said as they sat on a bench, watching Zara climb through a maze. "She gets that from her mom, too," Jamal replied. Alexandra turned to him. "You loved her very much." It wasn't a question. "I did," Jamal said. "I still do." "Does it ever stop hurting?" "No," Jamal said honestly, "but you learn to carry it differently." Alexandra nodded. They sat in comfortable silence. Jamal noticed how she'd changed over these weeks. Less makeup, softer clothes, laughter that didn't sound forced. She checked her phone occasionally. Her thumbs would fly over the screen, urgent replies sent to urgent messages. But she always apologized afterward, like she was afraid being a CEO made her less human. Zara ran over, breathless and smiling. "There's a pretend grocery store. Can we play?" "Of course," Alexandra said. She stood and let Zara pull her away. Jamal followed, watching his daughter and this stranger who wasn't quite a stranger anymore. He watched them pretend to shop. Zara put plastic vegetables in a tiny cart. Alexandra played along, asking about prices and quality like it was a real negotiation. Jamal's phone buzzed. A text from his boss, Lou. "You seeing someone?" Jamal frowned. "What?" Lou replied. "You've been happy lately. Different." Jamal looked up. Alexandra was laughing at something Zara said. Her whole face lit up. "No masks, no walls." "Maybe," Jamal typed back. "About time," Lou replied. Jamal slipped his phone in his pocket. He walked over to join them. "Daddy, you have to buy milk," Zara insisted, thrusting a plastic jug at him. "Yes, ma'am," he said. Alexandra met his eyes over Zara's head. Something passed between them. Warm, unspoken. They left the museum as the sun was setting. The sky turned orange and pink. Snow began to fall again, light and gentle. "I had fun," Zara announced as they walked to the parking lot. "Me too," Alexandra said. She knelt down. "Thank you for letting me spend time with you." "You're welcome," Zara said seriously. Then she hugged Alexandra again. This time, Alexandra didn't freeze. She hugged back immediately. When they separated, Alexandra stood. She looked at Jamal. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She glanced at the screen and her expression shifted. Just for a moment, worry flickered across her face. "Everything okay?" Jamal asked. "Yes," she said quickly. Too quickly. "Just work." "If you need to go." "No." Alexandra slipped her phone back into her pocket without answering the call. "This is more important." She said it with such conviction that Jamal believed her. They said goodbye in the parking lot. Zara waved enthusiastically as Alexandra drove away. "I like her," Zara said as Jamal buckled her into her car seat. "I know, baby girl." "Do you like her?" Jamal paused. His hand rested on the door. "Yeah," he said softly. "I think I do." Zara smiled. "Good. She needs people who like her. I think she's lonely." Out of the mouths of babes, Jamal got in the driver's seat. As he pulled out of the parking lot, he thought about Alexandra, about the walls she'd built, about the loneliness Zara had seen so clearly. He thought about his own walls, his own loneliness. Maybe he thought they could help each other tear them down. One Saturday at a time. What Jamal didn't know was that across the city, Alexandra sat in her car in the parking lot of her building. Her phone buzzed again. Same number. Board Chair Douglas Hartwell. She answered. "You missed the conference call," Douglas said without preamble. "I had a prior commitment. More important than a $2 billion company?" Alexandra looked at the rearview mirror. She could still see Zara's smile in her mind, still feel the small arms wrapped around her neck. "Yes," she said. Silence on the other end. "We need to discuss relocation," Douglas said finally. "The board wants to move headquarters to New York. We need you here full-time. No more disappearing on Saturdays." "I'm not relocating," Alexandra said. "This isn't a request. Neither is my answer." She hung up. Her hands shook. She pressed them against the steering wheel. The phone rang again. She ignored it. For the first time in her life, Alexandra Monroe had chosen something that couldn't be bought or negotiated. She'd chosen connection. She'd chosen family. She just hoped it wouldn't cost her everything. The snow continued to fall. The city glowed with Christmas lights. And somewhere across town, a single father and his daughter went home to an empty house that felt a little less empty than it used to. 3 lives, slowly intertwining. 3 hearts, cautiously hoping. One impossible proposal, becoming something real. The ice rink at Boston Common was crowded with families. Children wobbled on skates while parents held their hands. Teenagers showed off, spinning and racing. The air smelled like hot chocolate and roasted chestnuts. Jamal stood at the entrance, holding 2 pairs of rental skates. Zara bounced on her toes beside him, practically vibrating with excitement. "This was your idea," Jamal reminded her. "I know. It's going to be so fun." Alexandra arrived 10 minutes late, slightly out of breath. Her cheeks were flushed from the cold. She wore dark jeans and a thick sweater instead of her usual designer clothes. She looked almost normal, almost like she belonged with them. "Sorry," she said. "Meeting ran late." "It's okay," Jamal said. He handed her a pair of skates. "You know how to do this?" Alexandra looked at the skates like they were alien technology. "How hard can it be?" Zara giggled. Very hard, as it turned out. Alexandra stepped onto the ice with the confidence of someone who'd never failed at anything. That confidence lasted approximately 5 seconds. Her feet went in opposite directions. Her arms windmilled. She grabbed for the railing and missed. Jamal caught her before she hit the ice. His hands gripped her waist, steadying her. The contact startled both of them. For a moment, they stood frozen. Too close. Close enough that he could see gold flecks in her green eyes. "I don't understand this," Alexandra muttered. "The ground shouldn't move." Zara zipped past them, already halfway across the rink. "You're both old and slow," she yelled over her shoulder. Alexandra glared in the direction Zara had gone. "Your child is a menace." Jamal laughed. He couldn't help it. The Ice Queen's CEO, terrified of ice skating. It was too perfect. "Come on," he said. "I've got you." He kept his hands on her waist. They moved slowly, carefully. Alexandra's fingers dug into his forearms. Her whole body was tense. "Relax," Jamal said. "If you're stiff, you'll fall." "I don't fall." "Everyone falls." "Not me." 5 seconds later, she fell. Jamal went down with her because he was still holding on. They landed in a tangle of limbs. Alexandra's hair spread across the ice like a golden halo. She stared up at him, shocked. Then she started laughing. Not a polite laugh, not a restrained chuckle, real laughter that came from deep in her belly. It transformed her face completely. Jamal found himself laughing too. They lay on the ice like idiots while skaters went around them. Zara skated over and stood above them, hands on her hips. "Are you guys okay?" "We're great," Alexandra said, still laughing. Jamal helped her up. This time she let him. They made slow circles around the rink. Alexandra improved gradually. Her death grip on his arm loosened. Her movements became less frantic. "Where did you learn to skate?" she asked. "Chicago," Jamal said. "Grew up there. Ice was unavoidable." "I grew up in Connecticut. We hired people to shovel the driveway so I wouldn't have to deal with winter. And now you're dying anyway." She smiled, small but real. "Possibly, but it's slightly more fun with you." The words hung between them. More fun with you. Simple words, heavy meaning. They skated in silence for a while. Christmas music played through speakers mounted around the rink. Bing Crosby's White Christmas. Michael Buble's version of It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas. The classics that everyone knew by heart. Snow drifted down, light and lazy. It caught in Alexandra's hair like glitter. The lights strung around the rink reflected off the ice, turning everything golden. It should have been cheesy, a perfect Christmas card moment. But it wasn't. It felt real. "Do you ever get tired of people?" Jamal asked. "Always," Alexandra answered without hesitation. "Do you?" "Not people," he said. "Expectations." She nodded slowly, understanding without him having to explain. The burden of being enough. "Yeah. I spent years trying to prove I didn't need anybody," Alexandra said quietly. "Friends, love, family. Yeah. I told myself they were inefficient variables, distractions from success." She paused. Jamal waited. "But it turns out loneliness is just expensive misery." Jamal tightened his grip on her hand slightly. "After Teresa died, everything collapsed. I shut down. Built walls so high I couldn't see over them anymore. I thought grief meant loyalty, that if I moved on, I was betraying her memory." "And now?" Alexandra asked. Jamal watched Zara across the ice. She was skating with a group of other kids, laughing and shouting. She looked happy. Really, truly happy. "Now I'm tired of being alone," he said. Alexandra squeezed his hand. "Me too." The moment stretched. Fragile, precious, like spun glass that might shatter if they breathed too hard. Zara's voice broke the spell. "Are you two going to kiss?" Every head within 20 feet turned to look at them. Alexandra's face went bright red. Jamal felt heat crawl up his neck. "Zara!" he called, but Zara just laughed and skated away, clearly proud of herself. Alexandra covered her face with one hand. "I'm going to die of embarrassment." "Get in line." They skated for another hour. By the end, Alexandra could make it around the rink without holding on. She was proud of herself. Jamal could tell by the way she held her shoulders. When they returned the skates, Zara was still buzzing with energy. "Can we go to the Christmas market?" Jamal looked at Alexandra. She nodded. "I'd like that." So, downtown Boston transformed into a winter wonderland every December. The Christmas market sprawled across several blocks. Vendors sold everything from handmade ornaments to roasted chestnuts. Lights were strung between lampposts, creating a canopy of stars. The air was thick with the smell of cinnamon and pine. Zara darted between stalls, examining everything. She touched carved wooden toys. She admired glass ornaments. She charmed vendors into giving her free samples of fudge and candy canes. Jamal and Alexandra followed at a slower pace. Their shoulders brushed occasionally as they walked. Neither of them moved away. Alexandra's phone buzzed. Again. It had been buzzing all evening. She pulled it out and glanced at the screen. Her expression tightened. "You can answer that," Jamal said. "No." Alexandra silenced the phone and put it away. "Work can wait. What if it's important? Then they'll call back." She looked at him. "This matters more." The conviction in her voice made something warm bloom in Jamal's chest. They stopped at a stall selling handmade ornaments. The vendor, an older woman with kind eyes, smiled at them. Her hands moved deftly as she wrapped delicate glass balls in tissue paper. Zara picked up 3 ornaments, a star, a snowflake, a tiny house with a wreath on the door. We need these, she announced. They match. Alexandra frowned. They don't match anything. They match us, Zara said, like it was obvious. The vendor's smile widened. She wrapped the ornaments carefully and placed them in a small bag. You folks visiting family for Christmas? Jamal froze. He didn't know how to answer that. What were they? Friends? More than friends? Nothing official yet, but something real and growing. Alexandra opened her mouth, closed it, also uncertain. Zara had no such hesitation. She looked up at the vendor and said loud and clear, "This is my dad. This is his girlfriend." Time stopped. The vendor beamed. Lucky guy. Jamal felt heat flood his face. His mind went blank. He couldn't form words. Alexandra didn't laugh. She didn't smile. She just stood very still, staring at nothing. That'll be $15, the vendor said cheerfully, oblivious to the tension. Jamal paid. They walked away from the stall in silence. Zara skipped ahead, completely unaware of what she'd just done. They made it a full block before Alexandra spoke. Her voice was quiet, careful. Am I your girlfriend? Jamal stopped walking. People flowed around them, carrying bags and laughing. The world continued, but in their small bubble, everything had gone still. Do you want to be? He asked. Alexandra stared at the ground. Labels scare me. They feel like expectations I'll fail to meet. Then we don't need them. She nodded, but something in her eyes dimmed. Jamal recognized that look. The fear of not being claimed, of being someone's secret instead of someone's choice. He'd done that to her without meaning to. Alexandra's phone rang, not a buzz, a full ring. She pulled it out. The name on the screen said board chair. I have to take this, she said. I'm sorry. She stepped away. Jamal watched her walk a few feet down the sidewalk. He couldn't hear her words, but he could read her body language. The way her shoulders hunched. The way her free hand clenched into a fist. She was getting bad news. When she came back, her face was carefully blank. The CEO mask firmly in place. Everything okay? Jamal asked. Yes, she said, too quickly. Just work. Zara ran back to them, holding a cup of hot cider. Can Alex come over for dinner? Jamal looked at Alexandra. She forced a smile. I'd love to. But something had shifted. The ease from earlier was gone. Replaced by tension, Jamal didn't understand. Jamal's kitchen was small but warm. He made pasta while Zara set the table. Alexandra sat at the kitchen island, watching. She'd taken off her coat, rolled up her sleeves. She looked exhausted. Can I help? She asked. You can keep me company, Jamal said. That's help enough. Zara chattered while they ate. She talked about school, about her friends, about the Christmas concert coming up. Alexandra listened, asking questions, but Jamal could tell her mind was elsewhere. After dinner, Zara wanted to put the ornaments on the tree. They'd bought a small tree the week before. It sat in the corner of the living room, already decorated with lights and a few old ornaments. Zara hung the new ornaments with great ceremony. See, she said, stepping back to admire her work. They balance the universe. Alexandra sat on the couch, silent. Jamal sat beside her, not too close, giving her space. Did Zara saying that bother you? He asked quietly. Alexandra shook her head slowly. It didn't bother me. It terrified me. Jamal waited. She would talk when she was ready, or she wouldn't. Either way, he'd wait. Every relationship I've had came with titles, Alexandra said finally. Partner, girlfriend, fiancé. Jamal's eyebrows rose. Fiancé? She nodded. 5 years ago, his name was Richard Chen, venture capitalist, Stanford MBA. Very successful, very appropriate. There was bitterness in the word appropriate. We look at perfect together, Alexandra continued. Rich, smart, strategic. We fit on paper, but we didn't feel anything. She twisted her hands together in her lap, a nervous gesture Jamal had never seen from her before. He proposed after my company went public. I think he saw it as a good merger. I said yes because I thought that was what successful people did. They built power couples. What happened? Jamal asked. I told him about the hysterectomy, about not being able to have children. Alexandra's voice went flat, emotionless, like she was reading from a script. He said, and I quote, "This changes things. I wanted children, biological children. You should have disclosed this earlier." Jamal felt anger kindle in his chest. He's an asshole. He was honest, Alexandra said. More honest than most. At least he didn't waste my time. It's not honest. It's cruel. She looked at him then, really looked at him. Her eyes were wet, but no tears fell. I called off the engagement, and I promised myself I would never step into something serious again unless I was absolutely sure it was real. And this, Jamal gestured between them. Us? Alexandra's breath hitched. This is real, I know it is. That's why it scares me. Jamal reached for her hand. She let him take it. Her fingers were cold. What are you afraid of? He asked. That you'll wake up one day and realize you still love Teresa more than you could ever love the idea of me. The words landed like stones, heavy, painful. Jamal turned to face her fully. I will always love Teresa. She gave me Zara. She gave me the best years of my life. Losing her nearly destroyed me. Alexandra nodded, started to pull her hand away. Jamal held on. But that doesn't make you second place, he said. Love isn't a competition. The heart doesn't work that way. Doesn't it? No. Jamal's voice was firm. Teresa wanted me to be happy. Before she died, she made me promise I wouldn't spend my life alone. She said grief was a lousy companion. She was right. Alexandra's eyes searched his face, looking for lies, finding none. I'm falling in love with you, Jamal said. The words came out quiet but steady. It scares me too, but I'm tired of being scared more than I'm alive. Alexandra made a sound, half sob, half laugh. I'm trying not to run from that. Then don't run. I don't want to. She squeezed his hand. But I need you to understand something. I'm not easy to love. I have control issues, trust issues. I don't know how to be in a family because I've never had a real one. I don't want easy, Jamal said. I want honest. Alexandra blinked, stunned by the simplicity of it. Honest is dangerous, she whispered. So is love. They sat in silence. The Christmas lights blinked on the tree. Zara had fallen asleep on the floor, still holding a marker. She'd been drawing again. Jamal stood and picked Zara up carefully. She mumbled something in her sleep, but didn't wake. He carried her upstairs and tucked her into bed. When he came back down, Alexandra was standing by the window. She looked small, vulnerable, nothing like the powerful woman who ran a billion-dollar company. Stay, Jamal said. She turned. What? Stay tonight, not like that, he added quickly. Just stay. We can watch a movie, talk, or not talk, just don't leave yet. Alexandra nodded. Okay. They sat on the couch. Jamal found a movie on TV, some old Christmas classic he'd seen 100 times. Neither of them really watched it. Alexandra leaned against him, slowly, carefully, testing to see if he'd pull away. He didn't. He wrapped an arm around her shoulders and pulled her closer. She let out a breath, like she'd been holding it for years. Tell me something true, she whispered. Jamal thought for a moment. I'm falling in love with you, he said again. And it terrifies me, but not enough to stop. Alexandra tilted her head back to look at him. Her eyes were impossibly green. I'm trying not to run from that. Don't. I don't want to. The space between them shrank. Jamal could feel her breath on his lips, could see the flecks of gold in her eyes, could hear his own heartbeat pounding in his ears. Are we ready for this? Alexandra whispered. Maybe not, Jamal said, but maybe that's what makes it real. She laughed, that broken, beautiful sound, half cry, half joy. Then she kissed him. It wasn't perfect. Their noses bumped, their teeth clicked, but it was honest. It was them. Two broken people choosing to be brave. When they pulled apart, Alexandra rested her forehead against his. Promise me something, she said. Anything. If we fall apart, don't let Zara think it was because she wasn't lovable. Jamal cupped her face in his hands. Nothing that happens between us will ever change how loved she is. I promise. A tear slipped down Alexandra's cheek, then another. Jamal wiped them away with his thumbs. I love you, Alexandra whispered, finally letting the truth outweigh the fear. Jamal closed his eyes. His heart felt too big for his chest. I love you too. They held each other as the movie played on, forgotten. Outside, snow fell. Inside, two hearts that had been frozen began slowly to thaw. The elementary school gym smelled like glue sticks and popcorn. Paper snowflakes hung from the ceiling in crooked patterns. Someone had attempted a snowman backdrop that looked more like a haunted marshmallow. Parents filled rows of metal chairs, phones ready to record every moment. Jamal stood near the entrance with Zara. She wore a red sweater with sequin stars. Her hair was pulled back with a silver bow clip. She looked beautiful. She also looked nervous. "What if I forget the words?" she whispered. Jamal knelt down. "Then you make up new ones and look confident doing it." Zara giggled. Some of the tension left her shoulders. The gym doors opened. Cold air swirled in. Alexandra stepped inside, wearing a navy coat and cream sweater. Her hair was slightly windswept. Her cheeks were pink from the cold. She didn't look like a billionaire CEO. She looked like someone's girlfriend. Someone's almost family. Jamal's breath caught. "Hi," Alexandra said, smiling. "You came," Zara breathed. "I said I would." Zara threw her arms around Alexandra's waist. Alexandra hugged her back, bending down to whisper something in Zara's ear. Whatever she said made Zara smile. The concert started. It was beautifully chaotic. Kids sang off key. Teachers smiled with the desperate energy of people who'd heard these songs too many times. Microphones squealed like tortured ghosts. But when Zara's class took the stage, none of that mattered. Jamal watched his daughter with the heavy, swelling ache of a parent who never stopped marveling at their child's existence. Alexandra watched too, her body angled toward the stage, her eyes soft with something Jamal recognized. Love. Not the complicated kind. The simple, pure kind that children inspired. Halfway through a song about reindeer friendship, Zara scanned the crowd. Her eyes found Alexandra. Not Jamal. Alexandra. Something sparked across Zara's face. Joy so bright it was almost painful to witness. Alexandra's hand found Jamal's. Her palm was warm, trembling slightly. Not from cold, from emotion she didn't know how to manage. For a moment, the chaos of the gym blurred. It was just the three of them, connected, a family. When the concert ended, parents swarmed the stage. Kids waved programs and shouted for attention. Zara ran toward them, holding 3 drawings. She flipped to one that made Jamal's throat tight. 3 stick figures holding hands beneath a Christmas tree. The tallest had curly hair. The middle had long blonde hair. The smallest had brown scribbles for curls. Underneath, in determined handwriting, it said, "My family." "This is us," Zara announced proudly. Alexandra stared at the drawing. Her eyes filled fast, silent tears that broke through years of carefully maintained control. "Is this okay?" Zara asked, suddenly uncertain. Alexandra crouched down, voice trembling. "It's more than okay." She kissed Zara's forehead. Her hands shook. Jamal felt his heart fracture and expand at the same time. Nothing had ever mattered as much as this moment. Nothing had ever scared him more. Then a voice behind them shattered everything. "Jamal." He turned, his stomach dropped. Sarah Morrison stood there. Teresa's older sister, perfectly styled hair, designer clothes, disapproving expression that he knew too well. "Sarah," he said, keeping his tone neutral. "I didn't know you'd be here." "It's a school concert." Her gaze flicked to Alexandra, then to Zara's drawing, then back to Jamal. "You're already introducing Zara to someone new." The word new carried weight, accusation. "Sarah, this isn't the time," Jamal said. But Sarah wasn't listening. "Wow, Teresa hasn't even been gone 2 years and you're already moving on." Alexandra stiffened. Guilt flashed across her face, even though she had no part in Teresa's death, even though she'd done nothing wrong. Jamal's chest tightened. "It's not moving on, it's healing." Sarah scoffed. The sound was sharp, cruel. "Healing? By replacing Teresa with some rich stranger?" Zara stepped forward. Her voice was small but firm. "She's not replacing anyone." Sarah ignored her completely. She held up Zara's drawing. "And you let Zara draw this? This fantasy?" Jamal's jaw clenched. "Sarah, stop." "Teresa would be heartbroken," Sarah said, her voice cold as the snow outside. The words hit Alexandra like a physical blow. She flinched, her face drained of color. Jamal looked at her and saw something devastating. The immediate belief that she didn't belong, that she was the intruder. The replacement, the mistake. Panic seized him, not because of Sarah, but because he saw the truth in that moment. He hadn't claimed Alexandra. Not publicly, not proudly, not protectively, and now, forced into the spotlight, under Sarah's judgment, he choked. The words left his mouth before his brain could stop them. Alexandra is just a friend. Time stopped. The gym noise faded to nothing. Jamal heard his own heartbeat, heard the gasp Zara couldn't quite suppress, heard the absolute silence from Alexandra. He knew immediately that he'd broken something, something precious, something that might not be fixable. Alexandra's face didn't twist with anger. It shattered in silence. A tiny exhale escaped her lips, barely audible, but Jamal heard it, that small sound of pain. Zara's shoulders slumped, her eyes filled with confusion and hurt. Sarah smirked, victorious. Good, because Teresa is irreplaceable. She walked away, left destruction behind her like confetti at a parade. Jamal turned, desperate. Alexandra, I didn't mean it like that. I was just trying to protect us from her judgment. I thought if I could just get her to back off, we could talk about this properly later. And I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. You did mean it, Alexandra said. Her voice wasn't sharp, it was broken, quiet, final. You meant it enough to say it out loud. I was trying to protect our privacy, to protect you from your reputation, Alexandra interrupted. Her voice shook, but her gaze was steady. Your grief, or the illusion that you're still someone's widower instead of someone capable of loving again. Jamal reached for her arm. She stepped back, away from him, away from them. You don't have to claim me, she said. Tears filled her eyes but refused to fall. But don't pretend I'm nobody. She took Zara's drawing from Sarah's discarded grip, the family they almost were. She handed it carefully to Jamal, like it was made of glass. Then she turned and walked toward the exit, her coat unbuttoned, her shoulders shaking. Jamal didn't chase her, not because he didn't want to, but because he didn't know how to fix what he'd just destroyed. Didn't know what words could possibly undo that damage. Zara tugged his hand. Her voice was small, hurt. Dad, why did you say that? Jamal had no answer. 3 days passed, no call, no text, no message confirming their usual Saturday meeting. The silence hit Jamal in places he didn't know were breakable. The house felt different, wrong, like a painting with all the color drained out. Zara didn't sing around the house anymore. She didn't talk about roller skates or gingerbread houses. She sat quietly, coloring, glancing at the door every so often like she expected Alexandra to walk through it. She never did. Jamal made coffee he didn't drink. He paced rooms he couldn't settle in. He picked up his phone 100 times a day, staring at Alexandra's name in his contacts. He typed messages, long, rambling explanations, short, simple apologies, everything in between. He erased them all. Every sentence sounded selfish, manipulative, defensive. He didn't want to apologize with excuses. He wanted to tell her she mattered, deeply, dangerously, but he doubted she'd believe him. Not after he'd publicly called her just a friend. On the third day, Zara asked the question he'd been dreading. Is she mad at us? They were eating breakfast, cereal instead of pancakes because Jamal couldn't summon the energy for their Saturday tradition. Not mad, Jamal said carefully. Just hurt. Zara's eyes were too wise for 7 years old. Hurt because of what you said? Jamal set his spoon down. Yes. Did I do something wrong? Zara whispered. Her voice trembled. Because I called her your girlfriend? Jamal's stomach churned. He moved around the table and knelt beside her chair. No, baby girl. None of this is your fault. This is all on me. Zara's hands curled into small fists. She pressed them against her knees. But she hasn't come back. So someone messed up. I messed up, Jamal said. The words felt like swallowing glass. I hurt her feelings. I made her feel like she didn't matter when she matters more than almost anything. Zara looked at him with an expression that was equal parts sad and disappointed. Dad, you shouldn't make people feel like they don't matter. The truth from a child's mouth. Simple. Devastating. I know, Jamal said. I'm trying to fix it. How? I don't know yet. Zara reached out and patted his cheek. a gesture of comfort that made Jamal's eyes burn. You better figure it out. I miss her. Me too, sweet girl. Me too. Across the city, Alexandra sat in her penthouse. Glass walls, stainless steel, a skyline view that had cost millions and felt worthless. She'd built a life where she needed no one, where she disappointed no one, where she controlled every variable. But now she missed chaos. Markers scattered on the floor, burnt pancakes, laughter at midnight, small hands tugging her sleeve, a child's absolute faith in her goodness. She missed belonging. She thought about texting Jamal, not to fight, not to accuse, just to say she still cared, that she missed them, that she missed, that maybe they could try again. But every time she opened her phone, she remembered the gym. Sarah's voice, sharp and moralistic. Jamal's silence. Then those words. Just a friend. Like she was nothing, like the past months meant nothing, like her heart, offered so carefully, was something to be hidden instead of held. Alexandra wasn't naive. She knew healing was messy, that love was terrifying, that grief lived in every hallway of Jamal's heart. She'd been prepared for that, expected it even. But she hadn't been prepared for him to deny her, to choose protection of the past over possibility of the future. She whispered to the empty room, I wasn't trying to replace her. Her phone sat on the glass coffee table, silent, accusing. She could call, she could text, she could show up at his door. But pride held her back. Or maybe it was something deeper. The fear that if she reached out and he rejected her again, it would break something in her that couldn't be repaired. So she sat in her expensive fortress, alone, wealthy, successful, miserable. 3 lives pulled apart by fear and words spoken too quickly. 3 hearts aching in separate silences. 1 family, broken before it could fully form. Friday evening found Jamal sitting in a community center basement, folding chairs arranged in a circle, coffee brewing in the corner that smelled burnt and tasted worse. He hadn't been to grief group in over a year, hadn't needed it, or so he'd thought. Dvashis, the facilitator, smiled when Jamal walked in. Welcome back, Jamal. It's good to see you. Thanks, Chen. 8 people sat in the circle, various ages, various stages of grief. Some looked freshly wounded, others carried their loss like old scars, visible but healed. They went around the circle, sharing, remembering, crying, laughing sometimes too. Grief was strange that way. It contained multitudes. A man spoke. Marcus, mid-40s, white, wearing a wedding ring he couldn't seem to take off. I met someone, he said, his voice thick with guilt. My kids like her. That should make me happy. Instead, it terrifies me. Heads nodded around the circle. Everyone understood. Because if I let myself love her, Marcus continued, does that mean I didn't love my wife enough? Does it mean I'm betraying her memory? Dr. Chen's voice was gentle. Grief isn't betrayal of the past. It's honoring it enough to build a future. Your wife didn't want you frozen in time. She wanted you to live. Marcus nodded. Tears streamed down his face. Then Dr. Chen looked at Jamal. Do you have something to share tonight? Jamal hadn't planned to speak, but the words came anyway, spilling out like water from a broken dam. I hurt someone who deserved protection, he said. His voice cracked. I failed her because I'm still failing myself. I chose grief over love, and I lost both. The circle waited, patient, understanding. I met someone, Jamal continued. She's incredible, strong and vulnerable and real. My daughter loves her. I love her. But when someone challenged me, when someone made me choose between honoring my late wife's memory and claiming this new love, I froze. I denied her, called her just a friend, and I saw something break in her eyes. He put his head in his hands. I don't know how to fix it. Dr. Chen spoke quietly. Do you want to fix it? More than anything. Then start by being honest with her, with yourself. Teresa's love for you didn't end because she died, and your love for someone new doesn't diminish what you had with her. You can hold both. You don't have to choose. The words settled into Jamal's chest. Heavy. True. After the meeting, he sat in his truck in the parking lot. Teresa's photo was tucked in the sun visor. He pulled it out and looked at her smile. That bright, beautiful smile that had first made him fall in love. T, he whispered, I need your permission to let go. Not of you, never of you, but of the guilt, the fear. Snow fell gently against the windshield. The world was quiet. I think you'd like her, Alexandra. She's scared like me, broken like me, but when she smiles at Zara, I see what we could be. I see a future I didn't think I deserved. His voice broke. If you're listening, give me a sign. Tell me it's okay to love again. Tell me you're not disappointed in me. Wind blew, the photo in his hand fluttered slightly. Teresa's smile looked back at him. Warm, kind, forgiving. Maybe it was his imagination. Maybe it was wishful thinking. But Jamal felt something shift. Some weight he'd been carrying lifted just a fraction. Okay, he said. I'll try. I'll fix this, I promise. He tucked the photo back in the visor, picked up his phone. His hands shook as he typed. The message was simple, honest. I'm sorry for the gym, for not standing by you, for making you feel invisible when you have given us nothing but presence and love. You are not just a friend. You matter to me. And to Zara. I miss you. We miss you. He stared at the words for a long time. Then, before he could talk himself out of it, he hit send. The message showed as delivered, then read. No reply came. Jamal waited. 5 minutes, 10, 20, nothing. He started the truck, drove home through empty streets. The city glowed with Christmas lights. Everyone else's joy felt like mockery. But as he pulled into his driveway, his phone buzzed. His heart stopped. He grabbed the phone so fast he nearly dropped it. Alexandra's message was short. I'm scared, Jamal, but I miss you too. Relief punched the air from his lungs. His hands shook so hard he could barely type back. Can we talk? Even if it's messy, even if we don't know what this is. The pause felt eternal. Then her reply came. Tomorrow, your house. But I'm not promising anything, Jamal typed quickly. I don't need promises, just honesty. Her final message appeared. Then prepare yourself. I'm not easy to love. Jamal smiled through tears, whispered to the empty truck. I know. And neither am I. He sat in the driveway for a long time. Snow fell, the world turned. And somewhere across the city, a woman sat in her penthouse, staring at her phone, letting hope crack through her armor. Tomorrow would come. They would talk. And maybe, just maybe, they could find their way back to each other. One honest word at a time. Saturday morning arrived with pale sunlight filtering through winter clouds. Jamal woke at dawn. He hadn't slept well. His mind kept replaying everything. The restaurant, the ice skating, the kiss, the concert, the betrayal. Alexandra was coming today. To talk. Maybe to forgive, maybe to say goodbye. He didn't know which scared him more. He spent the early hours cleaning. The house didn't need it, but his hands needed something to do. He straightened pillows already straight, wiped countertops already clean. He lit the sugar cookie candle Zara loved because she said it made the house feel warm. Zara appeared in the kitchen doorway, still in her pajamas. Her hair was a nest of curls. She rubbed sleep from her eyes. Is today the day? She asked. Yeah, baby girl. Is she gonna forgive you? Jamal's throat tightened. I don't know. Zara walked over and hugged his waist. You have to tell her the truth. That's what you always tell me. You're right. I know. She pulled back and looked up at him. I'm gonna draw her a picture, just in case. Just in case what? Just in case words aren't enough. Out of the mouths of babes, Zara ran upstairs. Jamal heard her rummaging in her art supplies. He made coffee, poured a cup, stared at it without drinking. The doorbell rang at exactly 10 o'clock. Jamal's heart stopped. Started again. Faster than before. He walked to the door, took a breath, opened it. Alexandra stood on his porch. She wore a gray wool coat, no makeup. Her hair was pulled back in a loose ponytail. Her eyes were swollen like she hadn't slept. But she was here. She'd come. Hi, she said. Her voice was soft but steady. Hi. Jamal stepped aside. Come in. Alexandra hesitated on the threshold. Like entering meant risking something she couldn't take back. Then she stepped inside. The house smelled like sugar cookies and coffee. Christmas lights twinkled on the tree. It should have felt welcoming. Instead, the air was thick with tension. "Zara's upstairs," Jamal said. "She wanted to give us time to talk." Alexandra nodded. She didn't take off her coat, like she might need to leave quickly. They sat on opposite ends of the couch, a safe stretch of fabric between them, neutral territory. Jamal tried to speak first. The words jammed in his throat. Nothing came out. Alexandra stared at her hands. Her fingers were intertwined, her knuckles pale from gripping too hard. "I've replayed that moment," she said finally. "The gym. What you said. What you didn't say." "Alexandra, She lifted a hand. "Stop. Let me finish." Jamal closed his mouth, nodded. "I'm not here to attack you," Alexandra continued. "I know grief is complicated. I know losing someone leaves shadows that never really disappear." She took a breath. "But I need you to understand something. I wasn't trying to replace Teresa. I wasn't trying to erase her. I was trying to build something new, something real, with you and Zara." Her voice shook. "And you didn't defend me. Not from Sarah, not even from yourself." The words landed like stones, each one heavy. "True. You're right," Jamal said. "I failed you." Alexandra finally looked at him. Her eyes were glossy, but there was fire in them, anger mixed with hurt. "I don't need perfection, Jamal. I don't need promises that everything will always be easy. But I need to know you won't disappear when things get messy." "I don't want to disappear," Jamal said. "Not from you, not again." Alexandra let out a shaky exhale. Exhaustion was visible in every line of her posture. "I've spent years being strong. In boardrooms, in interviews, in relationships that never asked who I was, only what I could offer." She laughed. The sound was bitter. "I became a brand instead of a person. And I told myself that was enough, that success could fill the empty spaces." "And now?" Jamal asked gently. "Now I know it can't." She looked at him. "I let my walls down for you. I let myself hope. And when Sarah attacked me, when she said Teresa would be heartbroken, you didn't stand up for me. You chose the easy path, the safe path." Jamal leaned forward, his elbows rested on his knees. "I don't care about the brand, Alexandra. I care about you, the real you, the woman who colors with my daughter, the woman who can't ice skate but tries anyway, the woman who laughs with her whole heart when she finally lets herself." "Do you?" Alexandra's voice cracked. "Because loving me means dealing with my fear, my control issues, my inability to trust that anything good will stay. It means knowing I want a family, but I don't know how to be in one." Jamal didn't flinch. "I don't want easy. I want honest." Alexandra blinked, stunned by the simplicity. "Honest is dangerous," she whispered. "So is love," Jamal countered. "And you're not the only one scared." He paused, breathed through the ache in his chest. "I killed something beautiful that day. Not because I didn't care, but because I cared so much that I panicked. Sarah represents everything I've been running from. The judgment, the guilt, the fear that moving on means betraying Teresa's memory. And when she confronted you, you reverted," Alexandra said. "Yes," Jamal's voice was raw. "I became the widower again instead of the man falling in love. And I hurt you in the process. I'm sorry. I'm so deeply sorry." Alexandra wiped at her cheek. A frustrated tear escaped. "I don't know if I can trust you yet." Jamal nodded. He'd expected that. "Then let me earn it, slowly, clumsily, but consistently. But every day, for as long as it takes." The silence stretched, heavy, fragile. Then footsteps on the stairs, small, determined. Zara appeared carrying a tray. 3 mugs sat on it, hot chocolate with marshmallows piled high, cinnamon sprinkled unevenly on top. The tray wobbled slightly in her small hands. "I made peace drinks," Zara announced. Alexandra's face crumpled. Then she laughed, a real laugh that broke through the tension like sunlight through clouds. Zara set the tray on the coffee table with great ceremony. She handed Alexandra a mug. "I'm sorry if we hurt your feelings. We didn't mean to. We love you." Alexandra choked on her first sip. Tears streamed down her face. She set the mug down and pulled Zara into a fierce hug. "I love you too, so much." Zara hugged her back. Then she climbed into Alexandra's lap and settled there like she'd been doing it her whole life, like she belonged there. Alexandra held her, one hand cradling Zara's head, the other wrapped around her small body. She breathed in, breathing in the weight of belonging, the possibility of family. Jamal watched them. His heart felt too big for his chest, too full, too fragile. "Do you want to stay for dinner?" Zara asked. Alexandra glanced at Jamal over Zara's head, a question in her eyes. He nodded. "Permission granted. Please stay." "I'd like that," Alexandra said. Zara smiled, triumphant. "Good, because Dad's cooking pasta and it's not great, but it's better when we eat with someone we like." Jamal groaned. Alexandra laughed again. The tension dissolved, not completely, but enough. They weren't fixed, not yet, but they were together. And that was a start. Dinner was simple. Pasta with marinara sauce, garlic bread that was slightly burnt, salad from a bag, nothing fancy. But it felt right. Zara talked nonstop. About school, about her friends, about the Christmas concert she was still processing. She didn't mention the incident with Sarah. Neither did the adults. After dinner, Zara wanted to decorate gingerbread cookies. Alexandra rolled up her sleeves and joined in. They made a mess, frosting everywhere, sprinkles on the floor. But the laughter was real. The joy was real. Jamal watched from the kitchen island, his daughter and the woman he loved. Together. Easy. Natural. The doorbell rang. Everyone froze. Jamal looked at the clock. 7:30. He wasn't expecting anyone. He walked to the door, opened it. Sarah Morrison stood on his porch. Again. Jamal's stomach dropped. "Sarah, I need to talk to you," she said. Her voice wasn't sharp like before. It was quiet, almost pleading. "Now's not a good time." "Please, Oi." Sarah's eyes were red. She'd been crying. "I need to apologize." Jamal hesitated. Then he stepped aside. "Come in." Sarah walked into the house. She saw Alexandra and Zara at the kitchen table, saw the gingerbread cookies, saw the easy domesticity. Her face crumpled. Alexandra stood. Her body language was defensive, ready to fight or flee. "I'm not here to cause trouble," Sarah said quickly. "I'm here to say I'm sorry." No one spoke. Sarah looked at Alexandra. "I was cruel to you at the concert. You didn't deserve that." "No," Alexandra said quietly. "I didn't." Sarah flinched, but she nodded. "You're right. I had no right to judge you, to attack you. I don't even know you." "Then why did you?" Alexandra asked. Sarah's breath hitched. Tears spilled over. "Because I'm terrified." She sank into a chair, put her face in her hands. Her shoulders shook. Jamal exchanged a glance with Alexandra. Neither of them knew what to do. Zara walked over to Sarah. She put a small hand on Sarah's knee. "Aunt Sarah, why are you sad?" Sarah looked up. Her face was blotchy, mascara streaked. "Because I miss your mommy so much, and I'm scared everyone else is going to forget her." "I won't forget," Zara said seriously. "She's my mommy. I remember her every day." Sarah sobbed. She pulled Zara into a hug. "I know, sweetheart. I know." Jamal sat down across from Sarah. "What's really going on?" Sarah pulled back from Zara, wiped her face. "Teresa was my baby sister. I was supposed to protect her. When we were kids, I fought her battles. I kept her safe. And then she got sick and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't save her." Her voice broke. "And now Zara is growing up. She's forgetting what Teresa looked like, what she sounded like. And if she gets a new mother, it's like Teresa never mattered, like she's erasable." Zara's voice was small but firm. "Nobody's replacing my mom. Alex is different. She's extra." Sarah stared at Zara, then at Alexandra, then at Jamal. "I've been so angry," Sarah whispered. "Angry at Teresa for dying. Angry at God for taking her. Angry at you for moving on. But mostly angry at myself for not saving her." Jamal reached across the table, took Sarah's hand. "You couldn't have saved her. None of us could. What happened wasn't your fault." "It feels like it was." "I know, but it wasn't." Sarah looked at Alexandra. "Can you promise me something?" "What?" Alexandra asked carefully. "That you won't try to replace her. That you'll let Zara remember her mom. that you'll honor her memory. Alexandra's voice was steady, strong. I'm not here to replace anyone. I'm here to add to this family, to love Zara as she is, to respect the mother who came before me. Teresa gave Zara life. I could never replace that. I wouldn't want to. Sarah studied her, looking for lies, finding none. Can you promise you won't leave her? Sarah asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. Alexandra met her eyes. I can promise I'll try every single day to stay. I can promise I'll love her with everything I have, but I can't promise I'm perfect. I'll make mistakes. I'll fail sometimes. But I won't give up, not on her, not on this family. Sarah nodded slowly. That's more honest than most people would be. She stood, looked at the gingerbread disaster on the table. A small smile touched her lips. That's architecturally unsound. Jamal laughed, broken but real. I know. Can I help fix it? Sarah asked. Zara's face lit up. Yes, we need an engineer. They spent the next hour decorating gingerbread together. Sarah showed them how to make the frosting work as glue, how to balance the weight. It was still a mess, but it was their mess, together. When Sarah left, she hugged Alexandra, stiff at first, then real. Take care of them, she whispered. I will, Alexandra promised. Sarah hugged Jamal. Teresa would like her, she said quietly. Alex is strong, and Zara needs strong. Jamal's eyes filled. Thank you. After Sarah left, the house felt different, lighter, like a weight had been lifted. Zara yawned. I'm tired. Bedtime, Jamal said. Can Alex tuck me in? Jamal looked at Alexandra. She nodded. They went upstairs together. All three of them. Zara climbed into bed. Alexandra sat on one side, Jamal on the other. This was a good day, Zara said sleepily. It was, Alexandra agreed. Are we okay now, all of us? Jamal and Alexandra looked at each other over Zara's head. We're getting there, Jamal said. Good. Zara's eyes drifted closed. I love you both. We love you too, they said together. They sat with her until her breathing evened out, until sleep claimed her completely. Then they crept downstairs. The living room was quiet, only the Christmas lights glowing. Snow fell outside, soft and steady. Alexandra and Jamal sat on the couch, closer than before, but still careful, still rebuilding. Thank you, Alexandra said, for today, for fighting for us. I should have fought for us at the concert, Jamal replied, but you're fighting now, that matters. They sat in silence, comfortable, warm. Can I ask you something? Alexandra said. Anything. Do you want more kids someday? Jamal considered. Not now, not soon, but maybe, eventually. Alexandra nodded. I can't have them. I know. Does that change anything? Jamal turned to face her fully. It changes biology, not love. There are other ways to build a family, if we decide that's what we want. Alexandra's eyes filled. I don't know what I can promise you. About the future, about forever. Then don't promise, Jamal said. Just live with me, learn with me, heal with me. We'll figure out the rest as we go. A tear slipped down Alexandra's cheek, then another. I want to kiss you. Jamal smiled, small and stunned. I want that too. She leaned in, slow, cautious. She paused an inch away, her breath warm against his lips. Are we ready for this? Maybe not, Jamal whispered, but maybe that's what makes it real. She laughed, that broken, beautiful sound, half cry, half joy. Then she kissed him. It was gentle, slow, brave. Two people choosing each other despite everything that had tried to keep them apart. When they pulled back, Alexandra rested her forehead against his. Promise me something, she whispered. What? If we fall apart, don't let Zara think it was because she wasn't lovable. Jamal cupped her face in his hands. His thumbs brushed away her tears. Nothing that happens between us will ever change how loved she is, I promise. Alexandra nodded. More tears fell. I love you. The words hung in the air, simple, true, terrifying. Jamal closed his eyes. His heart expanded and ached at the same time. I love you too, not as a replacement for what I lost, not as a rescue from loneliness, but as a choice, my choice every day. They held each other as snow fell outside, as the Christmas lights blinked, as the world turned and time passed, and two broken hearts learned how to beat in sync again. Alexandra's phone buzzed. She glanced at it. Her expression shifted. It's Detective Martinez. Who? Boston PD. She's been investigating my father's death. Alexandra read the message. Her eyes widened. They arrested Charles Bradford, my CFO. The vehicle tampering has been confirmed. My father was murdered. They need my testimony. Jamal's hand tightened on hers. When? After Christmas. Alexandra looked at him. Is that okay? I should feel vindicated. Justice for my dad. But all I feel is tired. That's normal, Jamal said. Justice is important, but so is healing, and you can't do both at the same time. Alexandra set her phone down. Can we not think about it tonight? Can we just be here? Together? Yes. They lay on the couch, Alexandra's head on Jamal's chest, his arm around her shoulders. They didn't talk, didn't need to, just existed together. Outside, the city glowed with Christmas lights. Inside, two people who'd been alone for too long finally found peace in each other's arms. Christmas Eve arrived with perfect weather, clear skies, fresh snow, the kind of day that belonged on greeting cards. Jamal woke early. Alexandra was still asleep on the couch. She'd stayed over. Nothing had happened. They just held each other. Talked until late, fallen asleep tangled together. He watched her sleep. Her face was peaceful, younger without the weight of stress, beautiful in the morning light. She stirred, opened her eyes, smiled when she saw him watching. Hi. Morning. Did I snore? Like a chainsaw. She swatted his arm. He laughed. The sound was light, happy, real. Zara's voice floated down from upstairs. Is it Christmas yet? Not yet, baby girl, Jamal called back. Still one more day. Footsteps thundered down the stairs. Zara appeared in her pajamas. She saw Alexandra on the couch and her face lit up. You stayed. I did. Are you staying for Christmas? Alexandra looked at Jamal. He nodded. If you want me to. Yes, Zara threw her arms up. This is the best Christmas ever. They spent the day together, all three of them. They baked cookies that turned out burnt on the edges and raw in the middle. They watched Christmas movies. They decorated the last of the tree. Lou, Jamal's boss, stopped on by with a gift. He took one look at Alexandra and Jamal together and grinned. About time. Dr. Chen from Grief Group sent a text, checking in. Jamal replied that he was doing well, better than well, happy. As evening fell, they made dinners together. Nothing fancy, just the three of them in the small kitchen, music playing, laughter echoing. After dinner, after Zara had gone to bed with promises that Santa was coming, Jamal and Alexandra sat by the Christmas tree. The lights twinkled, the room was warm, everything felt right. Do you ever worry this won't last? Alexandra asked quietly. All the time, Jamal admitted. How do you deal with it? I remind myself that nothing worth having is guaranteed, but that doesn't mean it's not worth trying for. Alexandra nodded. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, My board wants me to relocate to New York. Jamal's heart sank. What did you tell them? I told them no. What? I'm staying in Boston. Permanently. She looked at him. I'm not choosing between my career and you. I'm building both. Boston headquarters. I negotiated it. They agreed. Relief flooded through Jamal. You did that for us? I did it for me, Alexandra corrected, because for the first time in my life, I know where I belong. Jamal pulled her close, kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. I love you. I love you too. They sat in the glow of the Christmas tree. Two people who'd been broken, who'd been lost, who'd been alone, now together, now healing, now building something beautiful from the pieces. Christmas morning arrived with magic, not the manufactured kind, the real kind, the kind that came from love and family and belonging. Alexandra woke on the couch. Zara was curled against her, still sleeping. One small hand clutched Alexandra's sweater, like she was afraid Alexandra would disappear if she let go. Jamal stood in the doorway, watching them, His heart was so full it hurt. A few months ago, his life had been a loop. Work, home, Zara, grief, repeat. Now his living room smelled like cinnamon and pine. His heart beat next to someone else's. His daughter slept with the confidence that love stayed. "Morning," he said softly. Alexandra opened her eyes, smiled. "Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas." Zara woke up, saw the presents under the tree, shrieked with joy. "Santa came!" The next hour was beautiful chaos. Wrapping paper everywhere, tape stuck to furniture and hair and clothing. Zara squealed over every gift, even the boring ones. Socks, pajamas, a book about science. Alexandra had bought Zara an art set, professional quality markers and paper and paints. Zara's eyes went wide. "This is too much." "It's exactly enough," Alexandra said. Zara threw her arms around Alexandra's neck. "Thank you. I love it. I love you. I love you too, sweet girl." Jamal gave Alexandra a small box. She opened it carefully. Inside was a simple silver bracelet, engraved with 3 words: faith, hope, love. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "It's us," Jamal said. "What we're building." Alexandra had gifts for Jamal too. A new jacket, work gloves, practical things. But given with thought, with care. But the best gift came from Zara. She handed Alexandra a drawing, 3 people holding hands under a Christmas tree. But this time the drawing was more detailed, more mature. The figures had faces, smiles. The tree had ornaments. At the top, in careful letters, it said, "My family." "This is you," Zara said, pointing to the middle figure with long blonde hair. "See, I put hearts around you, because you're love." Alexandra's eyes filled. She pressed the drawing to her chest. "Thank you, Zara. I'll treasure this forever." "You earned it," Zara said simply. After presents, they bundled up and went for a walk. The city was quiet. Most people were home with family. The streets glowed with Christmas lights. Snow crunched under their feet. Alexandra held Jamal's hand. No hesitation, no fear, just connection. "This is perfect," she said. "It is." They walked to Boston Common, let Zara play in the snow, watched her build a snowman with sticks for arms and rocks for eyes. "I never thought I'd have this," Alexandra said. "A family, people who love me for who I am, not what I can provide." "You have it now," Jamal said. "I know." She looked at him, snowflakes caught in her hair like diamonds. "Thank you for taking a chance on me, for letting me in, for loving me even when I'm difficult." "You're not difficult, you're real, and that's all I want." They kissed, soft and sweet, while snow fell and Zara played and the world spun on. That evening they had a small gathering. Lou came over, Dr. Chen, Sarah, who brought pea pie and apologies, a few neighbors. The house was full of warmth and laughter and love. They ate too much, told stories, laughed until their sides hurt. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. After everyone left, after Zara had gone to bed, Jamal tucked her in. She was still clutching the art supplies Alexandra had given her. "This was the best Christmas ever," Zara said sleepily. "It was," Jamal agreed. "Dad?" "Yeah, baby girl? Do you think she'll stay forever?" Jamal's throat tightened. Forever is a big word, but I think she wants to stay for a very long time. "Good," Zara yawned, "because she makes us better." "She does, and you make her better too." Zara smiled. "Before she was shiny, now she's warm." Jamal laughed, zoofed and choked. "Go to sleep, philosopher." "Okay, Dad." "Yeah? If being a family gets hard, don't leave each other." Jamal leaned down, kissed her forehead. "I promise we'll try. Really try." Zara nodded, satisfied. Trying is love. Downstairs, Alexandra waited. When Jamal came back, she was staring at the Christmas tree. The lights reflected in her eyes. "She okay?" Alexandra asked. "She's perfect." Alexandra turned to him. "I'm scared this won't last." "Me too. I'm scared I'll fail, that I'll make mistakes, that you'll realize you deserve someone who isn't broken." Jamal pulled her close. "Everyone breaks, Alexandra. The question isn't whether we break. It's who stays during the rebuilding." She rested her head on his chest. I want to stay. For all of it. The good, the hard, everything. Then stay. Okay. They held each other as the fire crackled, as snow fell outside, as the world turned and time passed. Two broken people, choosing to be brave, choosing to heal, choosing each other, one day at a time. 6 months later, Boston was green instead of white. Summer had arrived with warm breezes and long days. Jamal, Alexandra, and Zara sat on a blanket in Boston Common, a picnic spread around them. Sandwiches, fruit, cookies, the simple pleasure of being together. Zara was drawing, always drawing. Her art had improved dramatically. The lessons Alexandra paid for were paying off. Can I see? Alexandra asked. Zara held up her sketchbook. 3 figures holding hands, more detailed than ever before. Realistic faces, expressions full of love. This is us, Zara said. My family. Alexandra took the drawing. Tears filled her eyes. Happy tears this time. Can I keep this? Of course, Zara grinned. I made it for you. After a while, Zara ran off to play with some other kids. Jamal and Alexandra sat alone on the blanket. I've been thinking, Jamal said. About? About us, about the future. Alexandra's heart picked up speed. And? These past 6 months have been the happiest of my life since Teresa died. You've been amazing with Zara. Patient, loving, present. You've made our house feel like a home again. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small velvet box. Alexandra's breath caught. I love you, Alex, Jamal said. His voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. I'm in love with you, and I don't want to spend another day without knowing you're mine, officially, permanently. He opened the box. A simple diamond ring caught the sunlight. Alexandra Monroe, will you marry me? Will you be Zara's mother? Will you be my wife? Alexandra couldn't speak. Tears streamed down her face. She nodded frantically. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Jamal slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly, like it was meant to be there. They kissed, deep and real and full of promise. Zara's voice rang out across the park. Finally, I've been waiting forever. They broke apart laughing. Zara ran over and threw herself at them. They caught her, held her between them. A family, complete. 3 months later, on a perfect September afternoon, they got married. The ceremony was small, intimate, held at a venue overlooking Boston Harbor. 40 guests, people who mattered, people who loved them. Lou stood as best man. Sarah stood with Alexandra. She'd become an unexpected friend over the months. An ally. A sister. Zara was the flower girl. She wore a pink dress and a huge smile. She took her job very seriously. Every petal placed with care. Jamal wore a simple, dark suit. Alexandra wore an elegant white dress. Nothing ostentatious, just beautiful. The officiant asked, "Who gives this woman?" Zara stepped forward, loud and clear. "I do!" Laughter rippled through the crowd. Jamal's eyes filled. Alexandra wiped tears. The vows were simple. True, Jamal spoke first. Alex, you gave me permission to live again, to love again, to believe that second chances are real. I promise to protect you, to cherish you, to make you laugh every single day. I choose you, today and always. Alexandra's voice shook but held. Jamal, you saved my life, not from danger, but from loneliness. You taught me that family isn't about blood. It's about choice, and I choose you, every day, forever. They exchanged rings, simple bands that matched. The officiant smiled. I now pronounce you husband and wife. They kissed, the crowd cheered. Zara jumped up and down. Now we're really family. The reception was perfect. Dancing, laughing, celebrating. Lou gave a toast that made everyone cry. Sarah gave one that made everyone laugh. But the best moment came at the end of the night. Jamal, Alexandra, and Zara stood together looking at a display table. On it sat a framed drawing, Zara's latest. 4 figures now, 3 people and a dog they had adopted last month. A rescue mutt named Lucky. The caption read, My Forever Family. Alexandra stared at it. This is everything I never knew I needed. It's everything we all needed, Jamal said. Zara hugged them both. Can we go home now? I'm tired. They laughed, gathered their things, said goodbye to guests, drove home through streets they knew by heart. Home, not a house. Home, where they belonged, together. That night, after Zara was asleep, Jamal and Alexandra stood on their back porch. Stars glittered overhead. The city hummed in the distance. Are you happy? Alexandra asked. More than I thought possible, Jamal replied. You? Completely. He pulled her close. She rested her head on his chest, listened to his heartbeat. Strong, steady, sure. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For taking a chance on me, for saying yes to that crazy proposal in the restaurant, for building this with me. Jamal smiled. Best decision I ever made. They stood together, husband and wife, partners, best friends, watching the stars, planning the future, living in the present. Two broken people who found each other, who chose each other, who healed each other. Three hearts, one family, forever. Someone once asked Jamal why he was willing to risk his heart again after losing Teresa. He told them this: love isn't about never feeling pain. It's about believing joy is worth the risk. Teresa taught me how to love deeply, how to give completely, how to be present. Alexandra taught me how to love again, how to let someone in, how to trust that happiness could exist after loss. And Zara taught me that family is something you build, day by day, choice by choice, heart by heart. I'm not a hero, I'm just a man who got a second chance, a man who said yes to an impossible proposal, a man who learned that grief and joy can coexist, that loving again doesn't diminish what came before. This is my family, my forever family, built from hope and courage and an insane proposal in an Italian restaurant on Christmas Eve. I choose them every single day. And that choice, that's the greatest gift I've ever been given. The snow falls every December. The city glows with lights. Families gather. Stories are told. Love grows. And somewhere in Boston, in a small house in Somerville, a family of 3 plus one very good dog celebrates Christmas together. They're not perfect. They're real. And that's everything. The end and the beginning.